Right now, there is only one kind of human on Earth. Just one. Us. And we treat that like it's normal. Obvious, even. Of course, there's only one kind of human. But for almost the entire history of our kind, that was not true. For hundreds of thousands of years, you would have shared this planet with other humans. Different species. Walking, hunting, raising children, burying their dead. At the same time as us. Sometimes in the very same valley. We met them. We somehow talked to them. We had children with them. And then, one by one, every last one of them vanished. Until we were the only ones left. This is the story of the other humans. And the strangest part of all is where they ended up. Look at almost any other branch of life. There isn't one kind of bear. There are 8. There are dozens of kinds of dolphins, hundreds of kinds of primates. Nature almost never produces just a single species in a group. But humans? 1. We are the strange exception. A single living twig where there used to be a whole branching tree. And it's recent. Step back just 40 or 50,000 years. A blink in evolutionary time. And the Earth was full of humanity in a way it has never been since. So let's actually meet them. The Neanderthals. The famous ones. For a long time, we drew them as dumb, hunched brutes. But that's a lie. On average, they had bigger brains than us. They built tools, controlled fire, made clothing, cared for their sick and their elderly, and buried their dead. They survived the brutal Ice Age winters of Europe, conditions that would have killed our ancestors, for hundreds of thousands of years. The Denisovans. Here's how mysterious these people are. For years, almost everything we knew about an entire kind of human came from a single finger bone and a couple of teeth found in one cave in Siberia. We barely have their skeletons at all. And yet, remember this, they are not gone. Homo floresiensis. On the island of Flores in Indonesia, there lived a human that stood about 3.5 feet tall. Scientists nicknamed them the hobbits. Tiny bodies, tiny brains. And yet they made tools and hunted, and they survived until maybe 50,000 years ago. Homo naledi. In a South African cave, explorers found hundreds of bones of a small-brained human, dated to as recently as 236,000 years ago. And they were found deep inside a nearly impossible-to-reach chamber, which has led some scientists to a stunning claim, that these people were deliberately carrying their dead into the dark, a brain a third the size of ours, possibly holding funerals, and behind them, others, Homo luzonensis in the Philippines, and Homo erectus, the great survivor who walked this planet for nearly 2 million years. At certain moments in the deep past, there may have been 9 or more kinds of human alive at the same time. Imagine that world. Imagine looking across a river and seeing people. But not your people. Another kind of human looking back at you. Now here's where it stops being a story about them and becomes a story about you. When our ancestors spread out of Africa and met these other humans, we didn't just compete with them. We had children with them, and we know this for an absolute fact because they are still inside you. If your ancestry traces from anywhere outside Africa, roughly 2% of your DNA is Neanderthal. Right now, in every single cell of your body. And some people carry far more. Many people in Melanesia and Papua New Guinea carry around 5% Denisovan DNA, inherited from that ghost species we can barely find bones for. You are, quite literally, part other human, a living hybrid of species that no longer exist anywhere on Earth, and those ancient genes are still doing things. Today, high in the mountains of Tibet, people live and thrive at altitudes that would leave most of us gasping and dangerously ill. Why? Because they carry a special gene variant that controls how the body handles oxygen. About 87% of Tibetans have it. In most other populations, it's rare. And that gene was a gift. It came from the Denisovans, passed to modern humans tens of thousands of years ago. Other ancient genes shaped our immune systems, our skin, even how we fight off disease. The other humans died out. But pieces of them are still alive, still working, inside the bodies of billions of people who have no idea they're carrying them. They're not entirely extinct. They're us now. Which leaves the haunting question. What happened to them? Why did every one of them disappear and only we remained? And the honest answer is, we don't fully know. But there are theories. Maybe we simply outcompeted them. Better tools, wider trade networks, sheer numbers. Maybe it was the climate, ice ages that we, with our broader range, just barely outlasted. Maybe we carried diseases they had no defense against. Or maybe, and this is the gentlest version, we didn't wipe them out at all. We absorbed them. We had so many children with them in such overwhelming numbers that they were slowly folded into us, until there was no separate them left to find. It probably wasn't one war, not one massacre. It was quieter than that. They thinned out. They grew rarer. And then one day, somewhere, the last Neanderthal who would ever live simply died. And no one alive understood that an entire kind of human had just ended forever. For 300,000 years, there were many ways to be human, tall and short, big-brained and small, mountain people, island people, ice people. And now there's one. Us, alone on the branch. We are the last human species, the only one. And we arrived at that loneliness so recently that some researchers wonder whether the memory survived. In the legends nearly every culture seems to share. Stories of wild men in the woods, of giants, of little people in the forest, echoes maybe of the others, told for thousands of years after they were gone. You are the survivor of a vanished world, and you carry the last of them with you, in your blood, everywhere you go. So the next time someone talks about human nature, remember this. There used to be more than one kind of human. We're just the only ones still here to talk about it.